Welcome to another highly questionable work week. We've got Bomani Jones here. You can check out his podcast, The Right Time with Bomani Jones. Katie Nolan, Sports with a question mark. Let's get started.
Watch this. Me and Katie going to look at each other.
Oh, I went the wrong way.
But you went the right way. Let's try it again.
I messed it up.
Did the Lakers prove that they're clearly the best team in the NBA?
It's going to be fun to watch Lakers-Clippers go 7 games to get to the title because that's the way this is looking like we're going to end up here. Patrick Beverley after this game saying it's no challenge to guard LeBron. JaVale McGee saying after the game the Lake Show is the best team in the world, something you shouldn't be saying after playing only 12 minutes in the game. But any court that they step on to play against anybody, they've got 2 of the best 3 players. And the Clippers, for all that perimeter defense we talk about and all the 10-0 when healthy, they do have a problem guarding the rim. And LeBron James is one of the smartest basketball players we've ever seen. And you saw what happened late in that game. They didn't have many answers for him, and they didn't have any answers for Anthony Davis as well. I wouldn't do too much with the 1-game samples because the Clippers have already beaten them a couple times, and the Clippers are built for the playoffs. But the Lakers obviously can beat anyone in a 7-game series. They've got 2 of the best players.
Yeah, man, it was a show and prove weekend for the Lakers at Staples where they did it to Milwaukee on Friday and then they did it to the Clippers on Sunday. But I did not come away from that Sunday game feeling like, oh, wow, the Lakers are now going to walk to a championship. They do kind of sort of have an answer for Anthony Davis, which is Kawhi Leonard muscling him around. And we did see that he had the ability to do that. And with some of the flexibility that the Clippers have is that if you put Kawhi Leonard on Anthony Davis, you still got Paul George to guard LeBron James. And for the Lakers, I don't want to say these were like Super Bowl games for them, but they had lost a game to Milwaukee already. They'd lost those 2 games to the Clippers. You could see in the way that they were playing. This was important to both sides, but the Lakers were the team that felt like they needed it. So how it's going to look in the postseason, I'm not exactly sure. Did LeBron take the MVP case away in this weekend? Nah, not really, but the Lakers are very good, and this is the first time that we've seen them get a win over one of the 2 other teams that we think are as good as them.
Yeah, one of the things I think that makes it so interesting, Dan, you mentioned that Pat Bev said that there's no problem in guarding LeBron, but other than that, everybody was just very highly complimentary of their competition, and it seems like they're all focused on when this meeting is going to matter the most, which is in the postseason, which everyone's looking forward to. Interesting stat about the Lakers that I think really proves just how good they are is that they're 42-0 when taking a lead into the 4th quarter. That's insane and doesn't make any sense to me, and it's something very difficult to handle, especially when we get to the playoffs. But the thing about the Lakers is that the guy playing his off, you can't say that on this time slot.
They'll
okay?
bleep it out. Keep it going.
The guy playing his butt off is the oldest guy on the team, and when the old dude is hustling, then you're all going to hustle just because you don't want to get embarrassed and be the guy that doesn't play as hard as the old dude. So there's this invisible effect that LeBron has on making everybody better that I know won't get him the MVP like you were saying, Bo, but it is an interesting case to be made. You don't want an old guy to make you look lazy. Right, Dan?
By the way, if you're the Clippers, man, it's got to stink to know that if you do play a 7-game series in the playoffs against the Lakers, that's about to be 7 road games, right? Like if you needed a clear sign again about who runs that city in terms of interest, they had all that Clipper stuff out there on the floor. It was all Kobe jerseys around that arena. Like the Clippers, I don't know what they got to do to get some fans. Maybe they got to win one, but they will be playing 7 road games in their own arena if they play against the Lakers in the postseason.
I know we're talking about Lakers and Clippers, but there have been many times this season where LeBron James has looked every bit of those 35 years old, where he's a little slower, moving around. He's not jumping as high. So I was more impressed, guys, by what he did in guarding Giannis, Milwaukee. He was guarding Giannis, and he was shutting down Giannis. There are not a lot of people who can do that. We've seen Kawhi do it, and we saw LeBron do it. I didn't think that he had that much left in that 35-year-old body that he could stop Giannis the way that Kawhi did, but he clearly bothered him.
He did put up 20-something in the second half of that game, though, right? Like, it's an interesting place in LeBron's career where it's reversed, where guys get finals MVP for holding LeBron to 55% shooting. And now these dudes are putting up, Kawhi put up 27 in that game or something like that, right? Great job, LeBron.
Kawhi had no assists.
Oh.
Giannis was 2 for 8 when LeBron was guarding him. A small sample, tiny sample, but he stayed in front of him.
I didn't know that part. I fell asleep. I was very tired.
Is coaching Kyrie and KD an attractive opportunity?
Bomani spent the weekend laughing at the Brooklyn Nets. This seems like a strange story to emerge out of nowhere when Kevin Durant told us one of the reasons he chose Brooklyn is because he believed in the Atkinson scheme. And all of a sudden it seems like the unhappiness of Kyrie Irving is a bit of a poison because Atkinson mutually parted ways. And this is, of course, one of the great jobs because these jobs don't become available with these two superstars. You can have all your questions about whether Kyrie Irving can actually lead somebody to anything if he's not with a healthy Kevin Durant. You can also have all your questions about how Kevin Durant is going to come back from that injury. But coaches that are looking for jobs usually do not have something like this, a good young core with those two players available. I'd love that job if I were someone who had it available to me.
Yeah, and somebody who can coach that kind of a team, right? Kenny Atkinson's whole thing is he's a great developmental coach, but when you get a team that doesn't feel it needs as much development and more just needs management and clarity of roles defined by the coach, that's something that many of the players have said Kenny Atkinson lacked for them. So he's a great coach, it just isn't the right fit for a Kyrie KD lineup. I know KD said great things about him in the preseason, but he said he watched a bunch of his YouTube videos and liked the way he coached. You can like the way he coaches, but it's not the right coaching style for you. Just like you can watch on YouTube a video that says maybe the earth is flat. That doesn't mean that it's something you should definitely buy into and believe. So yeah, I think it's obviously a great coaching job, but you have to be willing to put up with big egos and big superstars like KD and Kyrie.
I'm not even worried about putting up with the ego. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about with nonsense, like putting up with Kyrie's nonsense. We are here, because keep in mind, Kyrie ain't even really on the team right now. He's been hurt. Kevin Durant isn't playing. And Kenny Atkinson looked around and basically said, I can wait till Kyrie fires me, or we can just go ahead and get this done right now. And he chose to get this done right now. Now, my question is, what person do you have to be to command the level of respect that's going to be necessary to get what you want out of those two guys? And if you can command that level of respect, are you the person that's willing to put up with this level of stress? Like, there's going to be some dudes who'll be like, yeah, I would love to have that job. And you have to ask yourself, why are those people available to coach? Like, they talk about Mark Jackson being the coach of that team. Do you remember how it ended the last time? It'll be great for us if he coaches that team. I don't say how it'll be good for him or good for them.
Ty Lue's name also always gets tossed around in these situations. It's like, oh, you like him as a person. Cool. That doesn't mean he's going to help coach you to be the team you want to be.
But they drove that dude to all that stress coaching in Cleveland, and that was a better roster situation than this one is. Like, he's got to be like, oh, no, y'all ain't going to kill me twice.
I guess this question is, would Ty Lue say yes if they asked him to take this job?
He's so right about this, though. Ty Lue was suffering panic attacks in Cleveland, and that was without Durant. You realize how unprecedented it is for two guys who aren't playing to get their coach fired?
Well, hold up. That wasn't even with Kyrie when he was having the panic attacks, right? Because that was the last year. Think of how much worse it would have been then if Kyrie would have been in there talking to him about the mathematics and 360 degrees and all kinds of other stuff that I barely understand.
What even is government, Ty Lue?
Is Mike D'Antoni right that the Rockets are at rock bottom?
Okay, I don't know exactly what rock bottom would look like if it's not losing to the Knicks and losing to Charlotte and then being down 39 points headed into the fourth quarter at home against the Orlando Magic. There's also a Clippers loss in there. James Harden is shooting terribly. He's made like 26 of his last 103 threes, and the Russell Westbrook small ball experiment has made him an efficient basketball player, but when he scores more than Harden, they tend to end up losing. This is an inventive basketball team. It's a creative basketball team. Daryl Morey deserves credit for landing superstar after superstar when it's not that easy to land those guys. But they are flummoxed and they are confused, and they're trying to play a style of basketball that comes into question and will come into question all the more when you're not making any of your threes.
I'm going to say this one more time. If you could really make it happen with a bunch of guys who aren't 6'6" in the NBA, somebody would have done it before. You know why? Because there's a lot more guys in this world 6'6" and shorter than there are 6'6" and taller. You were not going to reinvent the wheel on this one. It appears in a lot of ways the league is caught up. So with this idea that Russell Westbrook was kind of like your center, where there's a world where there are guys like Aaron Gordon who can guard Russell Westbrook while also being something like 6'9", right? That's where the Rockets are with this. So yeah, this is definitely rock bottom, and I don't think that this experiment is as bad as it's been in these last three games. However, there's a reason why everybody else has got big dudes. The Warriors had that death lineup. They would play it like 10 minutes a game because you're not supposed to be doing that for 48.
Here's the thing. D'Antoni actually said, hopefully, this is rock bottom. I don't know. And that's what's concerning. When you lose 4 straight, a stretch that you had a 0.5% chance of losing, and you lose all 4, you should be out here saying it is rock bottom, because then we know you're going to make changes when you hit the rock bottom to then come up from it. He said he didn't know. He also invoked Winston Churchill and said, when you're going through hell, put your head down and just keep going. I bet Winston Churchill also had some great quotes about defense, since that was his whole thing. Maybe you should invoke some of those, because you're just not playing it. There's no spark in this team. And for D'Antoni to say he thinks it might be rock bottom, that's the most concerning.
You know how tired PJ Tucker has to be? Like, I've been pretending to be a center all this time. I got to do this every night. Like, imagine how exhausted he is after every single game. Where they looking at him like, all right, come out here, big man. I'm not a big man, dog.
Not only that, but people are like, we hate this. And he's like, I hate this too.
Not only exhausted, but you're exhausted and you look up at the scoreboard and the Magic got you by 39.
Yo, when is the last time you watched an Orlando Magic game?
I, the other day, joked that I always forget they're in the league.
I don't think I've watched an Orlando Magic game without Dwight Howard.
I hope we air all of that, because it's the uncommon honesty that the Orlando Magic deserve.
Yeah. Wait a minute, they were in the playoffs last year. I watched them beat Toronto that one game.
It's fair. It's
They
a fair.
did.
But I can't promise you that I watched it. Like, I'm aware that it happened. I cannot promise you that I watched
forgot
it.
it happened. Not ashamed to admit it.
Coming up next on my son Stevie Show.
Fight had it all.
Bouchard's gonna bark, and Nitch is too.
Is that a coach?
The coaches. These are the coaches.
Bouchard-
Oh, he's taking off his jacket.
Oh,
Oh, 2 jackets being taken off.
Wait a minute. They don't have skates, right?
No.
So they're just going to fight on ice in wingtips?
I respect it. Let's go. Roll up your sleeves. Oh, you got gloves coming off. Is a player going to fight a coach?
Oh.
Nope, he might fight a ref.
Nitch will walk off. Wright's gonna come around and
Here we
say
go.
some more. Oh, I
Fight
have
the
never
coach.
seen this
Fight
in all
the
my
coach.
years of covering hockey. Now Wright's gonna
He
go
did.
and
To play the game that power ranks her friends. Bo's ahead of Dan. Do you question?
Oh, wow. Not a surprise, though. You give us
No.
topics and events, we question them.
Do you question if this fight had it all?
All right, we go out to the FPHL, the Federal Prospects Hockey League.
Oh, I thought
did-
that P stood for prison.
Let's
Federal
check
prison.
in.
To enjoy a fight like that.
I don't know.
Otherwise, we'd be leading the show off with this in a wrong way.
I don't know. I could have used a ref jumping in. The fight had a lot, but if it's going to be a full-blown melee, a ref has got to get involved.
Our highly questionable investigative team tells me that we have another angle of this fight, and we
Oh,
can
let's
now
go.
learn together how it is that this coach lost this shirt.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yo,
I was
it is.
wrong.
Is he the coach of the other team, or have his own players just taken this as an excuse to fight their coach?
That ref is kind of getting involved. I'm not gonna lie. That. Oh my God! Is that a sleeve?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Let's go, coach.
Wow.
Children are screaming.
Where do you think that coach works during the day, though? There's no way in the world that's his only job.
He's a line chef.
Do you question whether this is a good trust-building exercise?
Oh God.
All right, let's see what we have here. Where are we going that we're going to find if these people should be or shouldn't be trusting each other? Are we catching human beings falling from a
Oh my
okay.
God.
Nah, bro. Nah. Whoa.
Nope.
Is that a mouthpiece?
Oh.
Come on there, fella. Your hands are while you're here. Whoa, no, no.
Escalation.
No, no, no,
Escalation
no,
of
no,
the
no.
bit.
That one right there. That is not a great trust building exercise, right? I'm glad he caught it. That don't make me trust you anymore. The whole way I just be standing there like, just so you know, this goes wrong for me, it's going real wrong for you.
Also, maybe a good trust building exercise, but not great for actually making you good at football. Half those guys were just blocking the ball from hitting them in the face. They weren't actually catching it.
Not to rub it in here, Katie, but I
What?
would trust one person above all others to make a catch in an important situation here. You might remember this right here because you're a Patriots fan.
Oh, damn.
Recognize this play here.
Wow.
Very
Why?
mobile Eli
What
Manning.
does this have to do with anything?
Wow.
It is nothing other than a moment of Patriots heartbreak, and
How
Bomani
is
is
this
having the
trust
correct
building?
reaction.
This is the opposite of trust. I don't trust you at all. I come on this show all the time, even though you fail every trust-building exercise I give you.
The bright side of this is he didn't put the Mario Manningham catch on afterward.
Why
That's right. I
would
would
you even
never
bring it
do
up?
that.
They
That's not
probably
something
have
I would
it
ever
queued
do.
up,
But the
and now we're
producers
gonna watch it.
might be putting it up right now so that we can watch it and enjoy one of the greatest throws. This throw right here got Eli Manning into the Hall of Fame. It's going to get him into the Hall of Fame no matter how many times me and Bomani complain about it.
Yeah, the throw ain't getting him in. It was the catch.
What even is trust?
Play the game that is excited for a short work week. See or no?
You guys give us something that's on television tonight. We'll dissect it and tell you if we're intrigued.
I have
is
not
it a
gotten that head nod right one
no,
time.
but why is it a short work week?
It just is.
Are we self-quarantining?
Tonight at 10, Mariners and Brewers.
All right, you guys want to see some beer chugging? Cody Bellinger, we've got Christian Yelich. They're on a sports center here and they're chugging beers. You intrigued?
I mean, I stopped drinking a while ago, so you helped me out here, but that looked a lot less like they were chugging beers and they were just drinking them kind of fast. Like, am I the only person that didn't feel like the chug has a little bit more of some oomph to it? You know what I mean?
They drank it a little bit faster than the guy who was sitting behind the bar. Katie, are you intrigued?
I mean, not really. Spring training baseball, but also, yeah, it was just fast drinking. But important to note, this is a drinking game you can play given our current health crisis. It's solo, it's by yourself. Just don't play beer pong, college kids.
Tonight on ABC, the season finale of The
Get outta
Bachelor.
here, man, come on. Just awful. You guys keep doing this to me. Go ahead, play the clip. Sorry, Bomani, are you intrigued?
Say yes. All right, but
how
don't,
about
guys.
you?
Yes.
about
How
you,
about
Katie?
me? I'm
How about you,
intrigued.
Katie?
Because don't you guys want to see if he's going to pick the 23-year-old Southern woman with high cheekbones or the 23-year-old Southern woman with high cheekbones? I, for one, can't wait to find out.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. Bomani Jones, The Right Time with Bomani Jones, and Katie Nolan, Sports with a question mark.
Huh.
Are you Team Hannah Ann or Team Madison?
Oh, that's actually who they are?
Those are their real names.
Oh, I thought you had just completely
Hannah
made that whole
Ann
scenario
and
up.
Madison. We're all
Yeah.
Team Madison. Also, put some Mederma on that scar, Pete. It looks bad, and it shouldn't look that bad.
I do
Mederma.
want to know what his daddy is going to tell him, though, right? I'm very curious what he found out.
Yeah, that's not his dad. That's Chris Harrison.
Who's that?
He's the host. It's fine.
The show has a host?
Yeah, it's a weird role. You're not wrong. It's just
So,
I hate
so
that
the host,
I'm the expert
so the
here.
host comes in and starts snitching about what the girls have been up
so.
to?
I don't. It's weird because he says he has something to tell him, and then Peter is saying he's sorry to the women. So
Bomani,
maybe
please
he's got
stop asking questions.
COVID
Please.